It's the classic boomer meme. It's also taught by your favorite financial guru of the day. But is there any truth to it? Does buying Starbucks make you poor? Let's do what we do here and break down the math. And as always, sources are in the description below. What does the average Starbucks drink cost? $2.50. That being said, we all know people in our lives that'll spend $5 to $10 a day on Starbucks alone. But being that $2.75 is the current average Starbucks drink cost, we're going to start there. $2.75 a day, $19.25 a week, $83.65 a month, or $1,003.75 a year. That's actually a lot of money. In Q1 of 2022, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported a median weekly personal income of $1,037 for full-time workers. This equates to $53,924 a year before taxes. With this figure, we can say that the average Starbucks order of $2.75 a day every day during the year would come out to nearly 2% of the median full-time wage earner in the United States. Honestly, this isn't too crazy. For those of us who love to count our pennies and invest every cent, yeah, this might seem like a bad use of 2% of our annual income, but honestly, this fits comfortably in the 50-30-20 rule, where you spend 50% on your needs, 30% on your wants, and 20% on savings. Whoever does this just has to be mindful that it's making up 6% of their wants category, and as long as they're not spending more than 30% of their income on wants, to me, it's not that big of a deal, especially when it's something they look forward to on a daily basis and gives them that nice rush of dopamine that makes their day better. That being said, to break it down in another way, nearly for a whole week of the 52 weeks you work a year, every hour you work that week goes to paying for your full year of Starbucks. To me, that makes my stomach turn, and I would not be able to justify it to myself. I'll stick to the nice ninja percolator I have at home. Speaking of making your own coffee, let's see what could have been saved by doing that. Now, I don't think I've ever been to a home without at least a very cheap coffee maker, so let's just assume we already have one in this scenario. From the cheapest, I saw 8 cents a cup to 27 cents a cup on the higher end. So we're just going to say 50 cents per mug of coffee due to the fact that many of us use creamer and we're going to brew more than just a literal cup of coffee. 50 cents per mug of coffee will run you $182.50 a year, a savings of $821.25 a year, which kinda hurts, so let's make it hurt even more. Assuming no inflation in our magical world, $1,003.75 a year Starbucks coffee for 30 years would cost you a total of $30,112.50. Brewed coffee would cost a total of $5,475 over 30 years, but now let's invest the savings of $821.25 a year into the S&P 500, shall we? So yeah, it would give you a balance of $147,275 after 30 years. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting figure. Maybe I take back me saying, this isn't too crazy. I would personally much rather have $147,257 after 30 years and brew my own coffee at home instead of going to Starbucks every day. But one thing I'm assuming, those who spend $10 a day at Starbucks, they are probably in the wrong. And there are tens of thousands of them in the United States. $10 a day at Starbucks comes out to $3,650 a year, or almost 7% of the median full-time worker pre-tax pay. This also breaks down to almost a full month of work, or nearly a quarter of your wants category spent every year. But honestly, this just comes down to budget allocation. If you know that you're spending 25% of your wants category on Starbucks, and you're disciplined to properly fit that in your budget, then even though it hurts me, technically it's okay. But let's see how much money you're losing that could be invested, which is what I would personally do with my own money. In our same example as before, you would be spending $109,500 over the course of 30 years just to spend $10 a day at Starbucks. If you invested the savings of $9.50 a day by making your own coffee at home, your investment account would sit at $622,004 after just 30 years. Let's break it down in another way. We've been using the median US salary for this video so far. But we cannot forget the fact that in 2019, half of Americans made less than $35,000 a year. If you made $35,000 a year, this same daily Starbucks order would make up over 10% of your pre-tax income. Technically, you would still be able to fit this in your wants category, but we are getting a dangerously high percentage on only one want. And given the fact that 33% of Americans don't have a single cent invested into their retirement, Yes, this daily Starbucks order could be keeping you poor. But that's not the case for the average American, as the stats have shown that we've gone over in this video. It really comes down to budget allocation and discipline. If a daily Starbucks order makes your day that much better and you're accurately accounting for it in your 30% spending on wants, then it's not the end of the world. I personally wouldn't do it, and I would be disappointed in myself if I didn't again say you could just swap the percentages around and spend that money on your retirement. Not only would you have more set aside for your future, but you'd honestly be able to retire a few years earlier. I'd prefer some tasty made-at-home coffee on the daily if it meant that. So, is Starbucks making you poor? Let me know how you allocate your monthly coffee budget and what you think about everything I covered in the comments below. Subscribe and stick around for more. Thanks.